Hello everyone, welcome to what's supposed to be Facebook Live, but I am off touring some universities in New Mexico with my son today. So instead I wanted to still leave you with an incredible video. So this is our card for today. I'm calling this the double pop-up card. When you open it up, you can see like those little pop-up cards. They pop up and down. The bottom one will go down, the top one will go up. It is pretty spectacular, this card. Now, I saw a video on YouTube that did this. It wasn't a Stampin' Up demonstrator. It was just a little video. I will try to find that one and link it in my blog post on my blog, so you can check that out. I had to modify my measurements a little bit for this one, so my card is not exactly like hers is because I had to do some modifying of measurements, but I just love this whole technique. So this is what we are going to make today. So we are making this super special, amazing card for as part of my 20th anniversary celebration. So I am showing every Sunday in March, I'm showing an amazing, incredible interactive card that you can make. I'm hoping to break down the steps easy enough that you can make and wow your friends completely. All right, let's get started. Now I've only made one of these, so I'm hoping it'll go smoothly. There are a couple little finicky parts of it to make it work properly, but once you get it done, I think that it is a pretty spectacular card, and I think I'll be making more of these in the future. I really, really like this. I think it's fun. Before we get started, please share this video with your friends if you think they would be interested. I would love that. It helps me meet new people. If you love this video too, please like and subscribe to my channel. If you are shopping, please head to my online store. This is my March host code. All orders receive a PDF with 3 exclusive projects. Orders over $50 or more will receive the make and take kit that coordinates with that PDF. And you also get some other free perks in March helping me celebrate my 20th anniversary, and you can read all about those in the video description. Also, don't forget you can subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, shop early, stock up on your colors before the color refresh comes, and check out those online exclusives in my online store. Okay, we're going to start with our card base. Now this is just a regular card base. This is 8.5 by 5.5 and it's scored at 4 1/4. So this is all familiar to us. So we're going to go to burnish that line. And then I have 2 pieces of DSP. Now this one is from I forget what this one is called, Happy Florist DSP. This is in our annual catalog. I don't have much of this DSP left, but it is a really cute little DSP. It coordinates with one of our stamp sets. I can't remember the name of it, but look at how cute these little critters are. They are just adorable, and the paper is pretty great. Now I don't have, like I said, I don't have much of it left. So when I made this one, I used a different DSP. Oh, and you know what it looks like? I'm just noticing that now. I put the DSP upside down. They look like little hearts to me, and I wanted the hearts to go right side up, but I guess that's not how it worked out. All right. Oh, well, you guys live and learn, right? So I wanted to use this DSP with the little Calypso coral hearts, but I thought I had enough, but I didn't. So we're switching to the little Sahara sand hearts, and we'll try to glue these right side up. How about that? All right, let me grab some adhesive here. I am pre-recording this video before we leave, and it is pretty early. It is before 7 a.m. So I do apologize if this video gets a little rocky. I don't think I've ever done a video this early, so please bear with me. But this card was so cute, and I definitely wanted to show it to you guys. But like I said, we're touring a couple universities, so I had to take a little break. All right, so that is our card. We put the DSP on the inside, and the measurements for all of this will be in the video description. I think these are 5 by 3 3/4. So we're gonna set this aside for just a minute. Let's work on our 2 little cards that are go on the inside. Now these, let me double check the measurements on these because I want to make sure I think these are 5. Yeah, these are 5 by 2.5. So you need 2 of these, 5 by 2.5, and then score them in half at 2.5. Like I said, all the measurements will be in the video description. There are quite a few measurements in this card, so don't miss out on those. So you'll need 2 of those, and then I've cut 3 pieces of DSP, that same DSP again. These are 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 squares. They're either 2 1/4 or 2 3/8. They are 2 1/4. And then I have one white square that is 2 1/4 and 2 1/4. And we're gonna stamp on that one before we adhere it in. So let's adhere our DSP. Now we're gonna adhere the DSP. We're gonna put 2 of them on one card. And I'm just using Stampin' Seal to put all of this down. You can use Stampin' Seal Plus, you can use liquid glue, whatever adhesive you prefer. So that's gonna go on one card. On the other card, and remember, we're gluing all of these on the inside of the card. So not on the outside. We're opening the card and we are putting these on the inside. Okay, before we adhere this one down, let's just do a tiny bit of stamping. So I'm going to pull out my 2 inks. The inks I'm using are Calypso Coral and Blushing Bride. And we're going to put this little greeting on the inside that says, "May your greatest wish come true." The stamp set that I'm using is the Hello Ladybug stamp set. This is in the annual catalog. You can check this one out. There's a coordinating punch that we're going to use. Oh, I did that in the wrong ink. Let's flip it over. Let's try again. May your greatest wish come true. There we go. I want that to be in the Calypso Coral inks. We're going to set that aside. And then I have the little speckles, the little tiny dots, and we're just going to stamp just a few of them around the greeting. Just kind of top left, bottom right kind of thing. So just a few. Now, if you want to write on this piece, if you know you want to write a little greeting to somebody, make sure that you do that before you assemble it into the card, because it's a little bit tricky to write on here. Now you can write a little bit on the sides here too if you want, but if you're going to write your greeting anywhere, I would try to do that before you start assembling it, because it's a little bit trickier to write it once it's all put together. So keep that part in mind, and we'll glue this part into our card like this. So these are going to be ready to go. So we're going to set these aside. Let's see. Let's also do our, I think I lost a piece of DSP. Hold on. Fell on the floor. Hold on. Let's also do the front. Hold on. There we go. So we're just going to stick the DSP down. We're going to come back and do all the elements later, but let's go ahead and stick the DSP down, because the less pieces that I have on my desk, the less likely they are to get lost. So I have another piece of that same green pattern, and the measurements for these will be in the video description. Then I have 2 more little strips of that DSP that we're going to add on. And you can do the outside however you want. This is just the simple little way that I'm doing it. Let's put these hearts right side up. I can't believe that. I'm not even sure they're hearts, honestly. I think they're maybe little animal tracks. They kind of look like hearts, which is why I went with hearts. But either way. Okay, so this is the outside of our card. This is the inside. We're going to come back and add all of our punch art in just a minute. We want to get this whole thing put together. All right, let's talk about the mechanism that's going to make this thing pop open. Okay, so I'm going to put that aside. You're going to need 4 pieces that are 1 3/4 by 1 1/2. I'm going to grab a pencil and a ruler, and we're going to do some marking on here. So on the left side, you're going to come in 3/4 of an inch. Oh, wait, let's do our score line first. Hold on. Let me grab my Simply Scored. You can do this on your paper trimmer or your Simply Scored. My Simply Scored is just a little more handy at this point. So on that shorter side, on the 1 1/2 inch side, you're just going to score it in half at 3/4 of an inch. Okay? So I'm going to try to break this down and make this as easy as I can. So score it in half at 3/4 of an inch. Now you're going to need 4 of these total, so do all your scoring at first. All right, now we're going to come in from the left side where you're going to mark it at 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to mark it there. On the top, on the bottom, you're going to do the same thing. Come in 3/4 of an inch and mark it there. Okay, so far what I have done is I've scored it in half on the short side at 3/4, and then I made a mark on the top and the bottom also at 3/4. All right, now from the right side in, we are going to come in 3/4 of an inch, but this time we are going to mark it on the score line. So mark that 3/4 of an inch on the score line, and I'm going to make mine kind of dark so you can see what we're doing here. Okay. Now we're going to add some diagonal score lines. So I'm going to bring in my little template here. I made this little template, and this will actually be on a picture of this on my blog post. You can see it. So we scored it in half at 3/4, and then we made a mark from the left side at 3/4 of an inch, and then we made a mark on the score line from the right side at 3/4 of an inch. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Now we're gonna score it in kind of like an arrow or like a chevron pattern. So I'm gonna put my pencil away. I'm gonna grab my Take Your Pick tool with the Simply Scored end on it. You can also use your stylus from your Simply Scored. You can also use a bone folder, whatever you want to use. Now I like to put my stylus on this little mark down here and then pull my ruler in, and when my ruler lines up with that score line, then I'm going to score it. Just hold that nice and firm, and you're going to just score that. You're going to do the same on this side. Hold it this way, bring the ruler in, just kind of pivot it. There we go. So we have our first little angle here. Now we're going to go from this center score line, that center mark, down to these bottom corners on the right. So down one way, and we're going to go down the opposite way. Okay, so that is all of our scoring. So it looks like this. It has the kind of chevron pattern in here. Now we're going to fold this up. So grab that bone folder again. These two little triangles on the end, you're going to fold those up like this. Okay, so those are going to get folded up. Give those a little burnish. Fold that score line in half down the middle. All right, so this is what we've done so far. So it kind of looks kind of like a paper airplane starting. Now these score lines in the back, these are going to get folded down. So just kind of maneuver that score line there, push it down. And so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Pushing in with my first finger, just kind of maneuvering on those score lines. Once you get that, give it a good burnish. So this is what your piece should look like. I mean, it looks kind of funky, right? This is what it looks like. So that top little, or that back triangle in the back is going to get pushed down into it. These triangles in the front are going to get folded up. Okay, so you're going to do that 4 times. So you're going to end up with 4 of these. Okay, so if you need to watch that again, go ahead and rewind the video. And remember, this little template is going to be posted on my blog, a picture of that, so you can refer back to that little template, and then hopefully you won't have any problems at all. All right, now for the assembly of this, I am going to use my Tumble liquid glue. You can use tear and tape or Stampin' Seal Plus. Just make sure that you use a really, really strong adhesive. All right, now this one's going to go on the bottom of our card. So let's pull back our card. So the one with the greeting is going to go on the bottom. The one with just the DSPs, those are going to go on the top. So we're going to need 2 of these little mechanisms or anchors for each one. But how we adhere them is going to be a little bit different where they're going to go in the card. So let's adhere these on real quick. So with this back triangle that went in, you're going to pull that out a little bit and add some glue. If you're using liquid glue, just make sure you don't put too much that it's going to ooze out. I didn't go all the way to the edges with mine because I know it's going to ooze out a little bit. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to put the fold of this one, and we're going to go almost to the bottom. I'm only going maybe like 1/8 of an inch from the bottom, so you can see that. Now I'm making sure that this open part of my the bottom of that mechanism is on the bottom of my card. Okay, let's give that a little press, and I'm going to use some clothespins to hold these in place while they dry. And we're going to do the same thing with this one. So we're going to put a little bit of glue on here, and we're going to put it about 1/8 of an inch right above it. We are not, and we're going to put it facing the exact same way. We are not going too high with this, just a little bit, just like that. Okay, so that is your first mechanism. So let's set that one aside to dry for a minute. Let's bring in our second one. I'm going to grab 2 more little clothespins, so we're ready to go. Now we're going to do the same thing with this one, and it's not going to matter too much because we don't have a direction on this one. It can go either way, but just for mental sake, so we remember, we're going to just call this the top, and we're going to put them on in the exact same way, so that opening is now at the top instead of that bottom. I hope that's making sense. So let's do this again. So we're going to put some glue on that triangle at the back where we scored. We're going to flip this one over, We're going to put our card in about 1/8 of an inch from the top this time. And the bottom of that mechanism should be open toward the top as well. So I hope that makes sense. Let's put a clothespin down to hold that down. We're going to do the same thing with this one. Now I did try this with one of these mechanisms on each of the cards, and it didn't work as well. So you really need both of them to work. It wasn't as sturdy. It wasn't as reliable opening, I'll say. Okay, so we have this, and so your mechanism for the top should have the triangles facing up, and your mechanism for the bottom should have the triangles facing down. Okay? I hope all that makes sense. We're going to set this aside and do our stamping and all of our punching for the rest of the card. So while those dry. All right, now I have already stamped a little bit. So we need 5 ladybugs totals. We have 2 on the inside and we have 3 on the outside. So we need 5 ladybugs total. So I have already stamped, punched 4 of them. So we're going to do one more. So let's pull back our Calypso Coral ink and our Blushing Bride ink. We're going to do one of the, I'm going to grab my Stampin' Pierce mat. Hang on one second. This is a photopolymer stamp, and that little ladybug body is, it's a pretty solid stamp, so I like to get a good impression. Now before we do any of that, let's pull in our punch so we know how to punch it. I want to put my paper in this way for the ladybug body, so I want to stamp my ladybug with his head facing down on the left side of my cardstock. That's going to help me punch it a little bit easier. All right, and for the wings, we're going to do it the opposite. We're going to punch it on, or stamp it on the right side with the wings facing to the left. So let me get that stamp. Whoops, dropped it, sorry. And let's see, we want the wings going this way. So I'm doing the wings in Blushing Bride, and then I'll come in and do the spots in my Calypso Coral. I think this is a really fun color combination and a little bit different than other little ladybugs. All right, now our last thing that we need to stamp is the greeting that says, "It's a good day." And that's from the little ladybug stamp set. So I'm just gonna stamp that, a little scrap piece of paper. We're gonna trim that out. So we don't need to worry about it being super straight. You're not in a specific place. So let's close up our inks. Let's move all of our inks out of the way. I'm gonna move my ink pads. I'm running out of room, hold on. Okay, so let's bring back our punch and let's get our bits punched out. So we're gonna punch out our wings, which should line up. Okay, and then we'll flip it over and do the body on this side. So if you take a minute before you stamp just to figure out where everything's gonna be, why can't I line this up? There we go. If you take a minute just to line it up where everything's gonna be, it's gonna make your punching a lot easier. So just take that quick minute for these builder punches. Just flip everything over so you know where stuff's gonna be. All right, let's move the trash out of the way. And we are just gonna put a little bit of adhesive behind the wings there. You can actually pop these wings up on dimensionals too if you want, but we're just gluing them all flat this time. And there is your little ladybug. All right, for this one, I'm just gonna grab some long scissors and we're just gonna cut that out to the height of the words. You can also use a paper trimmer for that. And put those away. I'm gonna grab my smaller scissors and then we're just gonna trim this to an angle on each side. Okay, so that's our outside greeting, that little tiny greeting, so don't lose that. So we have our 5 ladybugs. Now I used the medium daisy punch, which is also in our annual catalog, and I punched 6 daisies from So Saffron, and I already glued those together. So these are going to be ready to go. And I also punched, I think, 4. I punched 4 of the leaves from the bow punch, or yeah, I think this is the bow punch. So just the leaf part, you can punch the little sprig too if you want. But I have those out of Pear Pizzazz. So these are all our pieces ready to go, but let's put that whole mechanism together. So we're gonna put those off to the side. We'll come back to those in just a minute. All right, let's do this. Let's make our card work. Okay, bring this back in. Remember the top card. This one just has the 2 DSP pieces. The triangles are facing up. Let's remove our clothespins. our bottom card has the triangles facing down, and we're going to put them in our card. Let's start with the bottom one. So we're going to open up our card, and we're going to lay this down, and I'm going to line it up maybe like 1/8 of an inch from the bottom, and these little triangles are going to go right up against the score line. So hold that down, and I'm going to bring back my clothespin. I'm actually going to just kind of hold the card in place with those clothespins. You can use Post-its too if you want, that's okay too. So we are going to use our strong adhesive, and we're going to put a little bit of glue on each of those little triangles. Okay, and with this all in place, we are just going to close the card. It's going to attach those two pieces there. I'm going to pull my clothespins around, just kind of attach them there. All right, this is going to take a second to dry, and then we'll come back and do the top one. So while we're waiting for that to dry, let's go ahead and stick all of our elements on the front. We'll go ahead and fancy up our front while we're waiting. So put my glue back on. I'm going to grab some dimensionals because, of course, these ladybugs are all going up on dimensionals. So we're going to take 3 of our ladybugs, and we are going to put dimensionals on the back of each of these. So let me go through and put these on. All right. Now I kept my card, fairly simple. This is, with all the punches, this card actually comes together fairly simple, especially with the punching. It's very simple. All right. My daisies, I'm going to grab 2 of these too, just so that we're ready for these. I'm going to stick these on as well with dimensionals. And I'm going to tuck one kind of under this ladybug. I'm going to put one over here, and that'll kind of help us with our ladybug placement. We're going to put one here, just make sure it doesn't go over the edge. And then we're going to place another one up here. All right, we're going to take a few of these little sprigs. I'm just going to put some adhesive on just the bottom stem so that the tops kind of pop up. We're going to stick one down here, stick another one right next to it, a little bit of adhesive on the bottom, and one more on the other side. So one more over here, and then our greeting, and we'll finish up with all the jewels in just a minute. So just a little bit of adhesive on the back of this, and we'll just stick that right across our little ladybug, just like that. Okay, so that is the front. This should be dry now. So that is the front. So when we open that up, we need to still glue this other side. I should have done that before we even did the front, but that's okay. Okay, we're going to go ahead and stick this one down too, so we can glue these both at the same time. So we're going to line this one up the same way we did. So about 1/8 of an inch from the top, those triangles on the other side. And let's go ahead and add some glue here. And I'm not going to use my clothespins to hold it in place. I'm going to risk it. Give that a good little burnish. Hopefully that's going to be stuck enough. We're going to try to move on. So this side, let's add some glue. I know I'm doing this like, you're like, what is going on, Ruth? This is ridiculous. Okay, let's glue some. If you do them both at once, it might be a little easier. I feel like I did them one at a time though. How did I do that? Do them both at once. It makes it easier. Makes your life easier. Let's stick some clothespins on here to hold it all in place. So you're just putting some glue on those triangles, whether they go up or down. I hope, yeah, I got it right. Okay, so let's finish up with our jewels while we're waiting for that to dry. I have the iridescent pastel gems. I'm making this card look way harder than it should be. I promise it's not that hard. Now this card is, you're gonna have to either use a padded envelope or you're gonna have to hand deliver this one. It is pretty thick. It's not going to be mail friendly. So because of that, I thought, well, I'm gonna use some of the bigger gems. Normally on a card, I wouldn't use these gems because they're a little bit bigger than I think is mail friendly, is post office friendly. But since this card is already a pretty elaborate card, you're not going to be able to mail this with one stamp anyway. I'm going to go ahead and go all out, and we're going to use these bigger gems here. Okay, so just 2 of those on the Calypso Coral Daisies. And actually, while we're here, I'm just going to put one more on the inside daisy here. So let me grab one of these. Just like that. We're ready to go for the inside now. Okay, let's hope that glue is dry. Let's cross our fingers and see if this works. So we're going to open it up. And it works. Those cards will pop up on the inside. I'm going to still give it a little bit more time to dry, but we're going to add our pieces on the inside. You can do this too. You can put these on before you assemble your card, but I like to put them on after, just to make sure that nothing is going to overhang anything. So we're going to put one ladybug on this side. We're going to put the daisy on the opposite side. And I am just using liquid glue for this because I don't want all those dimensionals on the inside. Although at this point, with the card being so thick, it probably doesn't matter. So a little bit of glue on the outside. And this is the one where I wanted to make sure that it all gets tucked in. You don't want it to overhang on the edge here. So just make sure that that leaf doesn't overhang. It can overhang inside the card. That's okay. But it can't overhang past the bigger card base. And then our last little ladybug is going to go on this card down here. Okay, so when you open it up, you have this amazing pop-up where the top card pops up and the bottom card pops down. So you could really just kind of play with this all day. Isn't that fun? So I hope I didn't confuse you too much. Do try to assemble both of those cards in at the same time. You can use clothespins or Post-it tape to hold those center cards in place while you're adding glue to the triangles. If you use a really strong dry adhesive, you know, it'll stick immediately. You won't have to worry about drying time. But I think that this is so cool, and you could really just sit here and play with this for days. I think it's just so much fun. All right, so here's the other one. Isn't it fun? So you'll have to let me know, do you like it with the Calypso Coral DSP on the inside, even though they may be upside down, or do you like it better with this more neutral white Sahara Sand one on the inside? You'll have to let me know. Either way, I think this is a really fun card. All right, guys, next week on March 26th, I believe, is my final Sunday for my 20th anniversary celebration. And guys, March 26th is the exact day I signed up. How crazy is that? I will have some giveaways next week, so make sure that you join me live in my VIP group next week, because I will be giving away some fun stuff on the 26th. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope to see you guys next week in my VIP group. And as always, have a great day. Bye.